There's a lake outside Dallas where I learned a thing that has governed my behavior for 30 years, and I learned it by squatting down. My middle son was 2, maybe 3. We weren't fishing. We weren't doing anything. We had just gone down to the shore to be somewhere for a while, the way you do with a small child when the afternoon needs filling on a Saturday. I saw something on the ground. I could not tell you what it was, a rock or a shell, probably a rock to skip. Some piece of lake debris worth 10 seconds of attention, and I crouched down to look at it. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw him crouch down too. I thought it was a coincidence. I stood up. He stood up. So I did what any man would do. I ran the experiment again. I squatted. He squatted, not a beat behind me. Not approximately exactly the way a shadow does it, because he had been watching me the entire time, and I had not noticed. I want to be careful here because it would be easy to make that sound charming. It wasn't charming. It was the single most sobering moment of my early fatherhood. A boy that age has no filter for what's worth copying. He does not evaluate. He does not select the good parts and discard the rest, and he takes the whole man and runs him again. I remember praying right there on the shore that I would act accordingly. Not that I would be good, that I would remember I was being watched. In this series, I keep coming back to the ledger, the account you fund in a child, whether you mean to or not. What I have written about so far is mostly the invisible column. The sentence my father said over a car engine and forgot by dinner. The apology I still owe over and over that I have never made. The mornings my sons watched me and I did not know they were watching. That's the hard part of this whole idea. Most of the entries get made by a version of you that isn't paying attention, and you don't get a receipt. But the lake was different. The lake was the one time I watched an entry go in. Here's what I did with that, and it's the part I'm least proud of. I filed it under true, and then went back to living. I had 3 sons across a couple of decades, and I could not tell you a single moment like the lake with the first or the last. Maybe they didn't do it. Maybe they did it constantly, and I was somewhere else, on a plane, in an agency, in my own head about work. I genuinely don't know. That's its own kind of answer. So when Riley came at an age where I finally had nothing more important to look at, I started watching for it. Not passively, on purpose. She reminds me of my middle son, something in the temperament, the way she studies a room before she enters it. And I wondered whether that meant she'd do what he did. I've spent 2.5 years consciously looking for that evidence that the account is real and the entries are going in. Last month I got it. It was the way she moved across the room. Not a gesture she'd been taught, not a word, nothing anybody could have coached. It was carriage, the rhythm of it, and it was mine, exactly, the way his squat had been mine, exactly. And I stood there in my own living room, getting the same news I got on a lakeshore in Texas before she was born. She's been watching the whole time. Every day I thought I was just getting through. Children watch. Children pattern. Children repeat. I don't think most fathers disbelieve this. I think we know it the way we know about cholesterol, as a fact filed somewhere that doesn't inconvenience us. What the lake did, and what last month did again, was move it from something I knew to something I had seen. Those are not the same, and they don't produce the same behavior. Because if it's abstract, you can negotiate with it. Guys can tell ourselves that kids are absorbed in their own thing and they weren't listening when you said that. But the mood we carried through the door dissipated somewhere in the hall. And if you have literally watched a 2-year-old reproduce your posture from across a shoreline, you can't. You know the transmission rate. It's total, and it's running whether or not you're broadcasting on purpose. Scripture handles this more bluntly than we do. Paul told the church to imitate him, to follow his example. And it sounds like arrogance until you read the second half of the sentence, where he says, as I follow the example of Christ. He does not tell them to look away. He knows they can't. What he does is take responsibility for what they'll find when they look by making sure he's watching someone worth copying. That's the only version of this I found that a man could actually live with. You cannot ask a child to stop watching. You will not be good enough for what they're going to see. The only move available is to be visibly following something better than yourself and to catch them doing the same. I do not have that language that was at the lake. I just had the prayer, which was the same thing in cruder form. Let me remember I'm being watched. Riley is 2.5. The account is wide open. The entries are going in, and for the first time in my life as a father, I am watching it happen instead of finding out decades later. That's the whole gift of a late child, if you want to know. Not energy, not patience, attention. I finally know what I'm doing while I'm doing it. So I squat down when she squats down. I lay down when she lays down. Not to be copied, to be with her at the level where she's looking. And I try to make sure that when she runs me again, the way she's already started to, it's a version of me I'd sign for. She's watching right now. So is yours. Act accordingly. The Daily Deposit is a series about what fatherhood actually costs and what it's building. It assumes you're already paying. The only question is whether you're paying attention.